Good morning. Well, actually, it's morning. I was going to say good afternoon. Hey, it is Paula. Today I've got my sign. I'm labeled today, to Fit Mama. And I wanted to continue to kind of talk about how I kind of helped Pete last year kind of deal with sports. And today I wanted to talk about how going to and from the game made a difference for him. I think maybe because I'm a girl, I just deal with things differently. I think when he would go with my husband, it was always, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. I always kind of started out with the negative, and I think that's how we grew up, is that you always focus on the negative instead of what went positive in the game. So one thing I had read was a book called Parenting the QBQ Way by John Miller. We had listened to him talk on a call that we were on, and basically you can't control anybody else. You only can control your actions, and do not put blame on things that you could have done differently. So you never complain about something unless you have an action to change it. One of the quotes, he says, "It's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." That's from J.K. Rowling, and that was in his book. And it's true. You're going to go out, you're going to play a game, things are going to happen, you're going to fail, but how you deal with it is how you change things. So what we would do is on the way to the game, and at first he thought it was crazy because, mom's listening to all this personal development and whatever. I said, let's just try it. Like, it can't hurt. So what we would do is I'd have him basically picture the perfect up at bat where he hit a home run, what the field smelled like, how he was holding his bat, where his hands were, where his feet were, the pitch comes at him, what it sounds like, what it looks like. Hey, Fred, how are you? And what happened, like what happened to his feet after the pitch went out or the ball went out, out into the bushes. And just thinking about that, because visualization is half of belief, right? If you know you can do it, then it'll happen. The other issue was on the way home. I would never let him start in the car complaining about things. Oh, this person didn't do that. This person didn't do this. I would say, what were 3 great things that happened to this game? It could be you, or it could be someone else. 12-year-old boys, most of it's about them. So that's what he would say, which is fine. But positive, start with a positive. Like, Pete, what happened well today? And he's pretty good about it. Like, I did this, this, or that. And secondly, like, what were the things you could have changed? And then what could you do to change it? And he was really good. He could sit there and, he knows. And I'll go into that later, like how we got there. But he knows what he has to do with his feet. It's like he gets nervous, he steps up to the plate, all these things are going through his head, instead of just taking a deep breath, settling back, and thinking about what he's going to do. And like that's about life, anything. You don't just jump into things, because then either you say stuff that you don't mean, you do things that you don't mean. But if you take a step back, take a deep breath, and think about everything you need to do, and sometimes over trying makes it worse. He would try swinging at the ball like he was a madman, and he'd miss it because of timing. The 2 home runs that this kid hit were just swings easy, because he was relaxed, he thought about it, he did everything right, he took his time. And again, that's lessons in life, right? And that's why I love baseball, because it's teaching him how to just deal with things in life, how to deal with striking out. And sometimes striking out or even getting out at first isn't a bad thing. He had a play the other day, brought a run home, but he struck out. Like, these are things that you have to look at. Like, not everything is a negative. So I hope this helped. I know it did for us. It got to the point where someone would be requested to drive home rather than others. But that's just because I refuse to make a game be win or lose a horrible thing. And I always say to Pete, what's the point of being out there? Getting exercise, being on that field, and enjoying your friends and having fun. And as long as you keep that game that way, it doesn't become this horrible thing where you're yelling, because honestly, the negative and the horrible rides home, it makes them not want to play baseball anymore. And that's not what I want. I want everything, to be a positive. And it's not going to be, but if I can manage it the best, I will. So I will give you the link for that book. I had actually read it for a business aspect, and then they had a parenting one. And I found that having him look at the question behind the question, like, yes, this happened, but what can I do to change it? So I hope this helps, and thank you for watching, Fred and Matt, and I hope this helps you live your best life. Thank you. To Fit Mama, out.